All right, so I'm busy preparing for a business consult that I have later today with business in Ireland. And my mind was going around this topic about personality tests. If you work with me, you will know by now, for those of you who've already worked with me will know by now that I do not prescribe personality tests. Even as a personal coach, a performance coach, whether I coach an athlete, whether I coach a business person, whether I consult for an entire business, I do not advise people to take personality tests. And here is why. A lot of these tests obviously are based on good research. It's not that they are flawed or anything. It's based on good research. But they often also sell these tests as do this thing because there are 9 distinct personality traits. If you understand the distinct personality traits between a team, people, or about yourself, which one of these distinct personalities do you have, then that you boxed in. It essentially tells you that this is who you are, and this is what you need to do, and this is where you need to work, this is how you need to work in a team, this is the type of job you need to do, which is so, personality is not a fixed thing. Somebody the other day also made a remark and said, oh, but you're born with your personality. You are not born with a personality. Personality is learned. It's all about learned behavior. So for those of you who have not watched some of my previous videos, if you understand neuroscience, a little bit about neuroscience of how attitudes and behaviors are created, just to recap quickly, you have thoughts coming into your mind, it comes and goes. How you get there is not the topic of discussion today, but how you get to all of those thoughts. Thoughts coming into your mind, when you attach a meaning to that thought, it's going to create an emotion and a feeling. We are all chemical beings. You have to understand that thoughts are a chemical process that happens in your brain. The emotion that you have, like that eventually result into the feeling of, maybe you feel sad, you feel happy, you have butterflies in your stomach, you feel excited, nervous, whatever it might be. These are all chemical reactions in your body. If you have the same thought, it will create the same emotion, and it will, same thought, same meaning that you attach to the thought. So it will create the same emotion, it will create the same feeling. And if you have that pattern, same exact pattern over and over and over, it's going to create a particular attitude. Now you walk out of this experience with an attitude. If you have that or display that long enough, it now becomes your personality. And that's what people label you with, because you've had these same thoughts. You essentially almost like, when they say same type of person every single day, that then creates your personality. And out of that will flow actions, out of that will flow habits, and eventually your identity. All of that can be changed. You can change your entire identity based on everything that happens in front of your attitude. So if you change your thoughts, if you change the meaning you attach to a particular thought, which will then result in a change of emotion, you will feel differently, whether it's from a bad feeling to a good feeling or emotion, and then the subsequent feeling will change that you feel in your body. So in other words, if there was an experience where you were nervous about something, let's take an example. Now that we're on the topic of staff and people and personalities, let's say you are an individual that's nervous to speak in front of a crowd. So your boss is not going to give you a presentation to do. You desperately want to do it because it will help you to get a better job and get more responsibilities, but you're nervous, right? Your boss, so everybody's going to label you, and probably when you complete these personality tests, it's going to quote unquote show that you are an introvert, which is also, like, I almost want to say a bunch of nonsense, because you are an introvert in certain scenarios, you're an extrovert in certain scenarios. So you're not a complete introvert, and that's how you are. That again, same thing with the personalities. If you attach a different emotion to the thought, whatever that thought might be, it's going to be different for different people, about being nervous on stage or being nervous giving a presentation in a boardroom. Once you can change that emotion, the feeling you're going to have is going to be different. So the feeling could potentially change from being freaked out and nervous to something of, I'm excited because now I have a new learning opportunity. Then your personality is going to change. Now you're not an introvert anymore, or they're not going to label you as an introvert anymore. They're not going to label you as somebody that's not personality-wise. Let's say you're not a team player, you're supposed to be a team. You know, all of that bunch of stuff. You do not get a distinct personality, because that can change. It can change based on your experiences. It can change based upon the season that you are in your life. Can change based upon the impact, the individuals you're hanging out with, what's going on in your life, what went on in your life when you grew up. All of that can change. So that is why I do not, and I will never recommend individuals, athletes, like I said, business people, teams, to take a personality test, because that doesn't give you a sense of who are you really if you are free to be yourself, right? Because in most companies, not by any fault of their own, but in most companies, in most team settings, you're not 100% free to be your own, because there are stuff that you need to confine. You have to operate in the confinements of whatever rules and guidelines there are. I love to give people an assessment where they can identify, like, if they are free to be themselves, who are they? How are they going to operate? And that's the type of stuff I do. Not a bunch of questionnaires to identify, quote unquote, your personality. Like I said, that's based on research, in the sense of so many of this type of people have completed it. So if you are like this and you answer like this on these questions, then let's say, based on the average out there, this is where we're going to start you in. Average is probably the biggest downfall of especially our young people, because we try to push them into stuff that are what society tells us to do. Is we try to push them into stuff that are average out there. And we don't need that type of society anymore. We need a bunch of people that can rise up and be creative and be innovative and be themselves. And it's never too late to be yourself. You can be 40, 50, 60. You can still find that sense of being yourself and operate in that freedom of being yourself. So yeah, rant over. I'll guess I'll find something else definitely in the next week to talk about. I'll see you later. Bye.